And we gotta say a big shout out to you wherever it is you're locking in from, whether it's on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you so very much for being a part of this Situation Updates live chat series episode. Today, tonight, whenever you're watching, man, we got a beautiful show in store for you. We'll be taking an up-close look at the new Bank of SVG National Performing Arts Festival. Our guest for tonight, if you'd let me just bring them on in, are none other than Mr. David Darkey Williams and, of course, Sean Frederick, both of whom are representing the National Theatre Arts Planning Committee. I hope I have that properly. I know with the rebranding and everything, it's a bunch of different names and so on and so forth. Right? Good afternoon, good evening, good night, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good night.
Good night.
What's up?
Awesome. I want to thank you guys so very much for carving some time out of your space, of your schedule to jump in and update our viewers, our community on this episode. Just to let you guys know, as usual, if you want to ever share a comment, share a question, jump on and send that. Let us know that you're there. That's the only way we get to know that you're there, is when you actually interact with us. So don't be afraid to do that. Starting things off, Sean, let's start the conversation with you. If you could just go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Darkey will do the same thing, and then we come back, take a quick commercial break, and then go from there.
Okay. Good night, viewers of Situation Update. Thank you, JP, for having me. My name is Sean Frederick. I'm the coordinator for theatre arts within the Ministry of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development, and Culture. My role is very, very simple. I coordinate theatre activities within the country.
Awesome.
Good evening, viewers. Good evening, JP. Thanks for having me to share some of my opinions as far as the theatre arts in St. Vincent is concerned. My name is David Darkey Williams. I am an artist, have been an artist for the past 40 plus years, a theatre artist that is, and I am really pleased to be here to interact with all those who choose to do this program.
All right, awesome. And of course, in a little bit, we bring you some updates as it relates to some of the other festivities that are happening around St. Vincent and the Grenadines for Christmas and beyond. In case you're wondering, guys, we're doing this episode tonight because we are smack dab in the, I'm just realizing I'm here practically in a way and I'm not on screen. We are smack dab in the month of theater. Well, back in the day, it was the National Theatre Arts Month, right? But because new things are happening, we kind of have to read up the name of the month too. But don't worry, we will let you know a whole lot more about what's going on as soon as we come back from these messages from our partners. As usual, call somebody, message somebody, let them know that we are live over here at JP Shimon on Facebook, on YouTube, and we are chatting theater and performing arts tonight.
Diamond Grocery Inc., located at Kaliako and Diamond, are your friendly neighborhood groceries for one-stop shopping. We carry a wide range of food items such as meats, toiletries, personal care, and even products for your vehicle. And there is so much more that is certain to make the most picky shopper happy. Our bakery supplies a variety of delicious and hot breads and pastries. We provide spacious parking at our 2 locations to ensure a pleasant shopping experience. Our staff is courteous, friendly, and ready to serve you. Come to Diamond Grocery Inc., Caliaco Diamond for excellent shopping with ambience designed for your satisfaction.
The National Performing Arts Festival Committee presents the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines National Performing Arts Festival 2021 in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture on November 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th, and 28th. An amazing virtual showcase from the best of SVG's young, emergent, and established creatives will be on stage for the world to see. An explosion of excellent performance arts presentation will be featured, along with the staging of a Caribbean classic, Moon on a Rainbow Shawl, a play by Errol John, directed by Darky Williams. November 6th to 28th, 7:30 nightly. It's the National Performing Arts Festival 2021. Revitalize, re-energize the brand. Brought to you by the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Ministry of Tourism and Culture.
Hey, you know hear about the Joke and Festival trailer out by this old gas station? Yes, the same one on the way out to Indian Baylor, man. They always have a whole set of pizzas every day, any day, including ackee and saltfish, vegetarian, and the world famous spicy jerk pizzas. But hey, that's not all, you know. They also offer jerk fish, escovitch fish, jerk chicken and jerk pork, and as always, they serve it with real Jamaican festival. We are wait for. Call them now, no man. 784-495-4267. How you mean? Man, them always deliver anywhere between Kingston and Prospect. The Jerk and Festival trailer, an authentic yardie experience. Here I come.
Trade. I always love that thing. Watch. Before I forget, guys, you need to type Jerk and Festival trailer, just the way you see it in this text right here on the screen. Jerk ampersand Festival trailer. Jerk and Festival trailer. I can't say it enough because you can't type it enough, right? It's simple. We're going to make sure set up so that you get situation updates, live chat series, giveaways, a nice little treat from the Jerk and Festival trailer. You just saw the ad. Hey, you don't want to miss it, right? So you type it, rest it in the box, and little more before the show is finished. You want to make sure you get that authentic, the experience, right? So I'm back with my guests inside. Of course, it's Sean Fredericks and I like to call him Dr. David Darky Williams. Yeah, I mean, the man has been doing this thing so long. Look, ever since I started theater, Darky has been one of the three first persons in Vincentian theater. That I actually literally met. Let me say good night to Marcella Dublin. She done up on the Joke and Festival trailer sitting there. nice. Running your things. Darking a little bit, we will jump forward and of course chat with you and get your story up and running. But for the very meantime, I'd like to start with Sean again, so we get an understanding of what's happening now for the Bank of SVG's National Performing Arts Festival. Sean?
Good. So we officially launched this festival. Well, it's a new format, an addition to the theatre arts roster. So usually we would see performances by groups, which are full-length plays. This year, a pitch was made from a young man whose name is Jekyll Maz to us back in 2020. And we looked at his proposal and formed a steering committee comprises of himself, Nisha Hope, David Daki Williams, and myself being the coordinator. We over a period of time, we looked at the development of this idea into into what it is today, now a full a concept for the National Theatre Arts roster. So we started back in October, where we did an official media launch after the bank and the ministry would have given the go ahead, barring the circumstances, to have to host this festival in 2021. After that, we started back off rolling with some presentations that was done in the festival prior to 2020, which is 2018 and 2019. Plays that was done by participating groups. Those were streamed on another platform. We did 7 of those plays, and they were heavily subscribed. After that weekend of streaming of those plays that was done in the festival, we then started the competition element or competition version of the Performing Arts Festival, where we saw individual performers registering in the categories for poetry, which was subdivided by spoken word and dub poetry, and also saw persons registering to do monologues. There were individual presentations, applicants, as well as applicants that came through the group process. So groups were allowed to send the best act to perform in the festival. So we saw that competition starting last week, and it was beyond amazing. This weekend, we would have another aspect of this festival on 7:30 virtually. I paused to ask a question.
Yeah. My hand will forever come towards the camera because I interface with the software that way. I want to expand a little bit on what happened, as far as last weekend. But let me let me just correct something for the folks that are chiming inside the situation updates giveaway. You need to write Jerk ampersand festival, just the way it is in this message. Forgive me for interrupting, but I don't want them to feel that there's a cheapo thing later on when we pull the draw and then they don't win, right? So just the way you see it, guys, is the way it's to be written, all right? Because the software won't recognize anything else competition. So Jerk ampersand festival trailer. That's the way the people them branded, all right? Don't vex with me. Sean, so you're saying this new format really got into the heat of things last week.
Yes.
What are some of the highlights that you see? Did you get that question? I'm asking from what you've seen last week.
I got the question. I note also you're being distracted. Welcome, Kevin. Kevin says he wants Jerk. Anyway, yes. The highlight, in my opinion, of last week's presentations were the variety of the pieces that was presented, as well as who they were presented from. There were a mixture of new, emerging, and established performers. And in my opinion, I think that what we saw coming out of those presentations were pieces of very high standard. The themes were in terms of the themes, they approach varying, topics and so on and so forth, based on the way they presented their presentations. But I think overall, the writing were amazing. I think the delivery of the pieces were also amazing in terms of the persons who were able to present their pieces. And that just really drew to the development process that took place before that. The Ministry of Culture insisted, or as part of its mandate, or encourage us to workshop the performers. So once they would have registered, we use the time between the registration time being closed and the time the festival starts to workshop. And David Daki Williams, myself, Nisha Hope, and a number of other persons met with these performers when we had the chance, whether it be via Zoom or on a daily basis at the Peace Memorial Hall, and we workshop their piece. Nisha spent a lot of time on directing, script development, Daki on stagecraft and characterization and all of those things. And I think that process helped these performers to deliver the way they delivered last week, which was beyond amazing.
Awesome. Daki, I hear Sean is talking about the quality of writing that came out in last week's presentation. What percentage of these presentations to your mind were original works?
Most of them actually. Um, I I can't remember of any particular piece that the presenter did not themselves write. So that is very encouraging from the perspective of developing our writers, our young writers. For the most part, when you talk poetry in St. Vincent, you're talking the David Williams, the Blazer Williamses, the Jeff James, and people who have been writing since in the 70s.
Mhm.
Now we are beginning to see this flood of young writers coming through, and excellent young writers. Some of them appeared at the first version of the theater arts first weekend, and they did not disappoint.
Hmm.
They did not disappoint, and I believe that is the sort of start anyone would want to have. It was the sort of start that would bring encouragement to not just us as directors and people who are vetting these pieces, but for those persons out there, those young writers out there who did not make up in their mind that they wanted to enter the festival. I am sure next year, the presentations this year has opened a floodgate. I could anticipate that, and look forward to what is going to happen next year.
And that sounds to me like it's a little bit literal and figurative in terms of open up the floodgates, because from my recollection from the previous format, one couldn't just register this year and come into the festival this year.
Yes, it was open to any performer, any writer, or any group for that matter. There was no restrictions. And there were some guidelines that we put out on social media, and we're asking for simple, very simple guidelines in terms of time, and your piece must be original for the groups. In terms of the group's presentation, what are the maximum or minimum amount of performer for those pieces? The guidelines were very, very to the point. So the festival was open. We had much more persons actually applying, but I think a lot of circumstances that were beyond even their control prevented them from presenting on the weekend, because we had a lot more registrants. And I think COVID-19 also played a significant role in terms of posing challenges to the festival as well, because it came very, very close. A lot of persons either were exposed or things of that nature. We wanted to adhere to the protocols without putting anyone at risk. And unfortunately, some persons didn't get to perform.
Oh. Let me thank you from a consumer end of the thing, for your conscientious approach to producing the festival this year. Very much. Not spreading the virus unnecessarily. So, bring our minds to what's in store for this weekend.
Oh my God.
A staple in my mind of festivals gone has been the Methodist dramatists, the police drama clubs, these kind of guys with their bits and pieces. And even the Performing Arts Society from St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College. One thing I could put my pat on, I seen some modeling and them sitting this up, and then people coming up piece. Are we seeing any of these kind of things for this weekend onward?
No, this is a new festival, and we thought there's some components that we just needed to leave out for now. Definitely, it will give us a chance to review and reassess what we are doing, and it's basically what our theme is revitalize while we re-energize the brand, and we will stick with the re-energizing part and the brand, because many organizations or drama groups, community-based, has gone performed within the theater space and did absolutely well. But we've been, experiencing a lot of challenges with group dynamics, fallout of groups in terms of their participation in the Theatre Arts Festival. So that is why I think, based on our engagement with the general public and our stakeholders in 2019, 2020, we were able to capture based a lot of recommendations and the opinions on people, and basically some criticism as well of how we could improve. And this is why we were really happy to go to work on this idea. This weekend, the groups that are still functioning and still a little dynamic, there's some others as well, but they are facing their challenges or politics or whatever you want to call it. They would make their presentations performing group skits. Aside from that, there are possibly going to be submissions in the folk category as well, choral speaking, and we may see some reenactment or improvisation. But the reenactment elements are where we would see three main cultural components, which is team meeting, being presented on stage, and we want that has been a tradition that has not been practiced in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for a very long time. We are looking at a presentation that was done by one of the performing arts group many years ago, written by David Darkey Williams, about the Gary Funa revolt, and that will be reenacted on stage as well. And we also will see presentations looking at the 1979 Last Sufre eruption, a poem that was written by our Vincentian legend, Ellsworth Shakeen, and then a presentation also on the 2021 volcano eruption. So it was in the minister's speech. He wanted he foresee, based on his presentation, that there would be a lot of writing around those events. And I don't know if you knew what was coming, but that reenactment will feature the 1979 and 2021 Last Sufre eruption. So it's an amazing weekend that awaits our viewers.
So I can't sit here and pretend like I don't know what's happening this weekend, right?
You so
Vincentians at home and abroad, wherever you are, you're definitely gonna need to tune in, whether it's to STV Online, to the St. Vincent and the Grenadines, what's it, tourism?
Department of Culture, St. Vincent and the Grenadines Facebook page.
Right,
and
he says it's better than I do.
Of course.
And of
SVG,
course, right here on the JP Shimon platform, you definitely would be seeing that live stream. No, the reason I pull them fellas there for the big screen is so that I could tell you, I could brag on boast, I can be performing too, right? Good. Awesome.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
I didn't want to let it on the back. I wanted to be a huge surprise, man.
No. I let it out the bag, no. So they don't have any excuse of missing it. All right, and we're gonna come back to that. And Stan James is saying to you, you made it as you would have made it as a history teacher. I wonder why. Speaking of history, Jackie, before we head into our next break or so, could you tell me from what you're observing, coming out of planning this new format, coming out of seeing it rolled out, the what was that, theater in retrospect, being observed by one of our major cable TV stations here, and to see the live performances rolled out last week. Give us a sort of comparison, if you will, from festivals gone past to this one,
If I could describe the mood, I would say it is a breath of fresh air. Okay? I am seeing a high level of enthusiasm, and something that I have observed over the years that was not as upfront as it is this year is the commitment of the participants to rehearse. In past years, people were not willing to attend rehearsals on a regular basis. And we had quite a few of the presentations where people would be making simple mistakes, missing lines, do not know how to recover, and things like that. But we are seeing a different approach. And one of the things that is striking to me is the volume of young presenters, young actors and actresses that are involved in this year's presentations. I just wish I was 10 years younger so that I could be around to work with a lot of these new folks, because it's really heartwarming to see their approach to this festival. And this is a trial run, if we could call it that. It's the first year. We have teething problems, of course, and the enthusiasm is so great. I could just imagine what the future presentations are going to be like.
It's really something to hear you say wish for 10 more years just based on what you've seen so far, man. And I got some love coming in here for you. You still got a whole 40 more years to go.
It's one of those movies where just give life.
Come on. Talk to me, Daki, while we have you on the floor. You're working on a particular piece for this year, a centerpiece, if you will, Moon on a Rainbow Shore. Tell us about that and your experience bringing that story to life.
The first thing is that for us and the facilities that we are working in, this is a challenge. The second part of the challenge is that we have a cast that has a lot of rookies. A lot of the members of cast are making their debut as actors and actresses. So that's, well, you would know I relish working with new blood. Mm-hmm. It's about getting new ideas and injecting a discipline into the approach or the kind of approach young people would like to take towards certain things. And then you find that, no, you have to pull back and reorder your thinking. And I am finding that happening, like it has happened over many years, it is happening again. However, the dedication to rehearsals is what I think is going to make the difference. As far as Moon on a Rainbow Shore as a story is concerned, the writer is a Trinidadian, and this is a play that was written in the 1950s. It's a very old play. It was performed all over the world. I could remember reading a footnote at the beginning of the script that I have. And I am seeing mentioned in that footnote names of some of who you and I would know are great actors that has performed Moon on a Rainbow Shore. We talking James Earl. Hello? Oh,
yes, go ahead.
We're talking about James Earl Jones and Robert Earl and Cicely Tyson. Those kinds of names. Diane Carroll. We are bringing these youngsters to walk in those footsteps. Mm. I think the streaming will reveal what, or if we did a good job in preparing them, and I hope we are able to satisfy the public with what will be presented. I spoke about limitations because we are in the Peace Memorial Hall, and there are big limitations at this hall. So we had to do a lot of adaptation to sets and things like that, to even to costuming, in order to make this presentation as authentic as we can get it. It is an excellent story. I am not feeling the challenge of directing the play is not as great as the challenge of reading the play. And
what's the difference there? What's the disparity there?
You see, in reading, you develop images in your head, visions of what that situation in the early 1950s would have been when Errol John wrote this play. And that now put against the simplicity with which those images and those visions have to be presented on the stage. And given the resources that we have, of course. So I hope that explains what I mean about the vision and images in the presenting or preparing the presentation and the reading of the presentation. But we are handling it, and both the cast and myself, and I'm sure the producers, are looking forward eagerly to presenting this piece to the Vincentian general public. Like I said, it is set in Trinidad, and we try to be as authentic in the Caribbean outlook that we are presenting of this piece.
Okay. All right, guys, we'll do a break at this point. We're gonna go pay some bills and come back inside the conversation. Sean, when we come back, I'd like to explore a little bit about some of the challenges, taking this to the virtual space. All right, we'll talk a little bit about that, and of course, we are on standby for another guest who would have some very interesting news to share. All right, hopefully he joins us. In the meantime, guys, let's do this and come right back. It would be so awesome if that button does what it's supposed to do when I press it. Okay, so I'll come up here and do it up here then.
The National Performing Arts Festival Committee presents the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines National Performing Arts Festival 2021 in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture on November 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th, and 28th. An amazing virtual showcase from the best of SVG's young, emergent, and established creatives will be on stage for the world to see. An explosion of excellent performance arts presentation will be featured, along with the staging of a Caribbean classic, Moon on a Rainbow Shawl, a play by Errol John, directed by Darky Williams. November 6th to 28th, 7:30 nightly. It's the National Performing Arts Festival 2021. Revitalize, re-energize the brand. Brought to you by the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Ministry of Tourism and Culture.
Diamond Grocery Inc., located at Kaliakwan Diamond, are your friendly neighborhood groceries for one-stop shopping. We carry a wide range of food items such as meats, toiletries, personal care, and even products for your vehicle. And there is so much more that is certain to make the most picky shopper happy. Our bakery supplies a variety of delicious and hot breads and pastries. We provide spacious parking at our 2 locations to ensure a pleasant shopping experience. Our staff is courteous, friendly, and ready to serve you. Come to Diamond Grocery Inc., Caliaco and Diamond for excellent shopping with ambience designed for your satisfaction.
And of course, we got this one more, and then we head back to the show, right, guys?
Hey, you know hear about the Joke and Festival trailer out by the Soul gas station? Yes, the same one on the way out to Indian Bay, man. They always have a whole set of pizzas every day, any day, including ackee and saltfish, vegetarian, and the world famous spicy jerk pizzas. But hey, that's not all, you know. They also offer jerk fish, escovitch fish, jerk chicken, and jerk pork. And as always, they serve it with real Jamaican festival. We are wait for. Call them now, no man. 784-495-4267. You mean? Man, them always deliver anywhere between Kingston and Prospect. The Jerk and Festival trailer. An authentic yardie experience. Here I come.
Yeah. The thing is easy. Just type it like you see it. Jerk and Festival trailer. Jerk ampersand trailer. Me like Jerk and Festival trailer. Hey guys, we're inside tonight with Sean Frederick and David Darky Williams, the legend himself, talking all things performing arts festival, the National Performing Arts Festival 2021. Sean, this year, obviously because of COVID, I shouldn't say obviously because of COVID, because my next guest is going to sort of put the thing on the head. All right. You guys opted to go virtual. Some of the people really are opting to go vaccinated only. Right. But the planning committee here this year opted to do a virtual production. That has to have come with a whole bunch of challenges, brother. Could you tell us a little bit about? Go ahead.
Yes, of course. Having worked on a number of productions that were virtual in their nature since 2020, I brought with me some experience of dealing with and having conversations with the change in protocols that was, that's been advised from the Ministry of Health standpoint, and even adapting to the environmental changes in terms of how we as of Ascension people deal with COVID-19. The protocols themselves has their limitations, but we were able to, in a very creative way and with respect of people and their health, do, for example, our rehearsals for a significant amount of time, observing social distance protocol. Our actors will come to the rehearsal space. They are advised to wherever they are to wear their face mask, and especially when they come to the space to keep on that face mask unless they're reading. We even in our pre rehearsal mode in terms of the exercises and so on. We do some persons because of the space. The space is it's big, so we 4, 8, 10 feet apart in order to get actors warmed up, whether it be their voice or their body generally. So we observed that quite a number of our actors, presenters are vaccinated, and those who can't would have been more likely the children, because we have young people in our midst who couldn't, for the reasons beyond their control, be vaccinated. We did not make vaccination mandatory, I must say that, but we encouraged it among our members, and over time, after the audition, quite a number of them went and got vaccinated. Also, we would have also been interrupted by instances where persons were exposed to persons who were tested positive for COVID-19. Luckily for us, they were able to recognize that and nip it in the bud very early without compromising us. So if they thought that over the weekend they were exposed to COVID-19 to someone who was positive, they informed us, look, I think I wasn't exposed, I have to quarantine, I stay away, and they stayed away. And we did a few virtual rehearsal sessions, which they were able to join in. Luckily for them, they're alive and they didn't, suffer any major symptoms, etc., and recovered well. Also, another challenge would be a number of our actors are trying to attain their degree virtually or online, and clashes in terms of classes around the same time. We have to rehearse, we have assignments. Then, when school reopened, there was a number of students who are on our classes, that you mentioned, young persons, who also posed some challenges to our rehearsals in terms of persons attending. But outside of that, once we got the go-ahead from the ministry and the bank, it was a smooth process without much interruptions in terms of challenges. We have been around the Peace Memorial Hall for God knows how long, so we know how to maneuver around this space in terms of the challenges we face with whatever issues the hall is facing at this time. And I can safely say that we have been managing well, and we have all, like for example, last week's presentation went without any major hiccups.
All right, awesome. Now, as in life, I know it as the National Theatre Arts Festival Month. As of this year, I believe we're going to be calling it the National Performing Arts Festival Month.
No.
Gives way to Christmas.
Yes.
To 911. To these kind of things.
But let me correct that before you go on with it now. Look, it's Drama Month in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, according to the ministry. And it's also Tourism Month. So you have that twin. So Drama Month and Tourism Month as well. So anybody else who wants to intercede in the month of November is actually they should seek permission to do so.
Because it don't jump up. But the point I'm making is that this month, with all its festivities, theatrically speaking, would naturally give way to December. And every time December swing around, there's only one thing on Vincent Jen's mind, and it's 9 mornings and Christmas. Right, Bomani?
I don't think Bomani knows.
That's correct. That's correct. We're at that.
Yeah,
we're at that junction.
Yeah, man. So we are at that junction in the conversation. Let me say good evening, man. Welcome. Thank you so very much for coming through. For the folks who are wondering what the hell is Bomani doing on the live tonight, guys? Bomani is actually the sitting chair of the 9 Mornings Committee. Am I wrong?
Yes,
am I wrong
correct.
there?
This is my,
awesome. So I'm going to shut my
No, you're correct.
There seems to be a delay between me and you, right? So I'm going to quiet for a little bit, And I'm basically going to hand the floor over to you so you can tell us a little bit about what's happening for 9 Mornings 2021.
All right. Well, the wait for persons to know whether or not 9 Mornings 2021 is happening is over. And a few days ago, we got our clearance, I guess, from all our stakeholders, cabinet, and everybody to proceed with 9 Mornings 2021, albeit a different format, right? And I think it goes without saying that we definitely had to make some this the way we present the festival. We were faced with choices, do nothing or something, and I believe that if I've always felt like if you can't get to do what you want, then you can do what you can, but you must do something. And given that we're facing the pandemic in 2021 even more intensely than we did in 2020, and many of our festivals have been cancelled. And this year in particular was a rough year for Vincent Chance. Not only were we faced with the ravages of, but we experienced the eruption of La Soufrière, and all of the challenges that those two major events, and we had challenge with dengue as well. So forces beyond our control really, I think, put a kind of damp for 2021, and hence we as a community, like, we had a responsibility to help at least this Christmas to spread some cheer, right? And that was the basis on which we decided that we should try to do something. So we set about looking to see, like, how can we in this challenging period present a festival that requires participation, mass participation from the public, as event planners and managers. Certainly one of the issues, that we took on, and so we have some very experienced persons on the team, and we looked around to see what mechanisms were available to us, right, to be able to do this, how we could make adjustments to the festival, and how we could present something preserved and promoted the Festival of 9 Mornings whilst keeping people safe. And that was the I guess the prism through which we viewed how we were going to present 9 Mornings this year. The lens of health and safety, that was the priority, right? And everything that flowed after that, we wanted to initiate to keeping people safe. So the first thing we looked at was what we were going to do about the venue. Heritage Square is the established venue for 9 Mornings. It's open, it's free, it's sort of a free-spirited kind of atmosphere. Clearly, in the midst of a pandemic, we couldn't go to Heritage Square. Well, where else could we go? We talked about all kind of different spaces that we could occupy. But at the same time, we're saying, like, okay, how can we involve as many people as possible? Well, Sean mentioned his experience with hosting virtual events. Well, that's been something that's been happening all across the world over the last year. The whole system of social interaction changed due to the pandemic everywhere around the world. This whole thing about having Zoom meetings and all that, it became the norm. And the virtual space became sort of the alternative for social interaction. And so it presented an opportunity for us to say, okay, let's occupy the virtual space as the main sort of option. Let's find a venue that allowed us to do so safely. For the discussions, we had the consultations with our Ministry of Tourism, our Minister, our Cultural Officer, Permanent Secretary, consultations with the Ministry of Health, with the police, with other stakeholders, including community groups and organizations, to come up with a framework as to how we can safely, under these circumstances, hold the festival, and to sort of build that model. So finding a venue that we could do the production safely, and as time sort of went by, different advice were being offered by various persons. The concept of the hybrid virtual / vaccinated event sort of took shape, right? So we were saying, okay, we can actually do this production at Victoria Park, featuring all of the as much of the content as was practical, whilst at the same time inviting members of the public who are vaccinated to sort of come to the Victoria Park and view the streaming. The streaming would be broadcast on local television platforms and social media, so you can beam this to the rest of the world. And for persons who are not able to be at the venue, and for persons who want to be at the venue, we offer that option, right? But creating a safe space for everybody.
To my mind, Nine Mornings, especially, well, like the Nine Morning festivities across the country, has always been participation heavy in terms of, getting interactions from the audience and so on. So when I heard rumors that Nine Mornings was looking at doing virtual, I was wondering how would that work? So it's really great to hear that it's evolved into a hybrid of sorts. But the nagging thought to my mind now is basically what would happen to Nine Mornings like in Richland Park up there. So over the river or these are the communities who had their festivities. They don't have particularly a space where they could seclude like Victoria Park. So would they be having festivities, or would it just be what's happening in Victoria Park?
Right. Well, fortunately, as I said, we were able to have a meeting with the various community groups and organizations and we were responsible for producing the festival, or helping us to produce the festival in the rural areas. And most persons in the room sort of understood that we were in a different circumstance, right? And so we, based on what we presented to them for proposal this year, which our proposal had 3 main pillars, which was the first and foremost, as I said, health and safety. So ensuring that the message of COVID safety and protocols are spread and adhered to this year, occupying the virtual space with programming and lighting the communities. Now, most communities may not have the venues already configured to be able to host like a virtual vaccinated event. Some communities may, but may require technical and logistical assistance and so on. So that part of it is still on, we've left the door open for that part of it, whether if we can find a venue on either coast, Windward, Leeward, and possibly in the Grenadines to see how that could be done. However, we have to exercise caution and show as a responsibility. We have to exercise some direction here. So we put to the floor how rural communities can become involved in the entire process. And it was interesting that quite a number of them thought about, okay, well, we'll just do our lighting competition feature this year, right? Rather than do the usual live shows, events out in the junction or on the roadside, which would not have the sort of controls that are necessary for us to have a safe time. So they were being very responsible in that sense, right? And understanding and accommodating for us. And knowing that, if we continue to increase our vaccination rate, and our numbers keep trending downwards, and if this is sustained over a particular period of time, well, this approach that we're taking this year may only end up being temporary, and next year we may very well be in a better position. We're keeping our fingers crossed, where we can go back to what we have become accustomed to in terms of 9 Mornings being, this free environment festival for all concerned. So I think most of the rural communities will be focusing on the Christmas lighting competition, which will remain this year. In fact, we're expanding how we encourage that, expanding categories for prizes and so on, encouraging more private homes to light up, more businesses, community gardens and squares and so on. And for those who, as I said, we would try to see how we can work with them if we're able to identify venues on either coast that can safely replicate the format that we're proposing at Victoria Park.
Okay, I have 2 more questions. One just for you and one for everybody on the panel just yet. As it relates to getting into Victoria Park on any of these 9 mornings, what is the protocol going to be? I mean, I know, right, I understand it's early, but the people, is it that people have to sort of shortlist before they come down, or how are you going to manage that particular traffic there?
Well, it's interesting. Earlier, before I came on, not too long ago, I attended a meeting at the Victoria Park for promoters who are looking to have events this year, a rep from the Ministry of Health, and they sort of updated us as to how that process is evolving now. Not too long ago, you would have had to make your way onto a list in advance, right? Sending your proof of vaccination, etc. information as a patron wishing to attend a vaccinated event to the Ministry of Health for verification. And that was sort of a tedious process. Now I'm happy to hear that the Ministry of Health, they are making arrangements. In fact, they are well on their way to rolling out this QR code, sort of, the technology that allows you to scan your code, so you arrive at the venue with your QR code, which would have been given to you in advance once you've registered in advance. So that should help to sort of speed up the process, right? So they're gonna be there with their iPads, with the database, the vaccination database for citizens and the Grenadines, for persons in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and persons who are traveling who would have already who should have provided them with the information. And you show up with your ID, your vaccination card, they scan it, and you're in. And so hopefully, I suppose in the next few days they'll be providing more information. But that's definitely something that we were looking forward to in terms of how do we expedite the process of getting people who will attend these vaccinated functions, making it a more smooth process, a less onerous process on patrons. So yeah, that's good news for us.
Awesome news, man. So the question I'm asking everybody now is in terms of vision. This is what we have now. I know you're saying this particular format could just be a temporary thing depending on where we are next year at this time. But in terms of your overall vision for the product, for the festival that you're championing at this point, what is the vision? Where do you want to see this festival get to in another 5-10 years going up the road? But man, you have the floor, so we start with you.
Well, with 9 mornings, I mean, we're trying to fulfill our mandate of promoting the festival and preserving the festival, And although we are interrupted in a sense by COVID, we still have a responsibility to keep the cultural uh, this cultural practice alive. Because we feel like culture dies when you stop practicing, right? And we found ourselves in a situation where we are challenged by COVID, but we can still find ways to practice the festival and practice the culture while we try to get over. Um, so that would have interrupted a longer view, a longer plan. Yeah, COVID would have interrupted a longer plan temporarily, I believe, to bring a festival like Nine Mornings to the world, really. One of the things one of the visions we had, and incidentally, I spent this week in a workshop, and a UNESCO workshop, Intangible Cultural Heritage workshop, where we had been trying to get Nine Mornings on the list of global cultural heritage, which is a very high profile, a UNESCO very high profile list. Ray from Jamaica just made the list, and this calls attention to unique cultural traditions in countries around the world. And the ultimate goal would be for us to share this festival with persons all around the world. I mean, every Vincentian, I believe, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and even those who are living abroad, are familiar with Nine Mornings in some way, some way or form. But we have billions of people living in countries around the world who may not know about this festival. So ultimately, we are hoping to be able to package and streamline and develop this festival in such a way as to be able to invite persons from everywhere around the world to come to St. Vincent and enjoy this is something that happens only here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which we are immensely proud of, right? And I think that's one of the things that we're striving to long term, to be able to have persons from other cultures come to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and experience something they've never experienced before, and have each community develop features of the festival that's unique to them, so that when someone comes to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they can go to Cool Seal and have a unique experience, or they can go to and have a unique experience, or they can go to Richland Park and have a unique experience, all within this festival for Christmas. And we're seeing the different spin-offs from the festival as well. 9 nights at the Botanical Gardens is another feature. So it has tremendous tourism potential, and benefits for cultural practitioners economically, and the significance of St. Vincent and the Grenadines is just limitless.
Awesome. I'm gonna share that same question with the gentleman there at Peaceful. So vision, man, where do you want to see your festival go? 5, 3, 4, 5, 10 years up the road.
Well, I think it will be very difficult to stop the virtual march forward. So I can see combinations of virtual and in-person presentations of theater happening. Bomani just spoke about, if you don't practice, it dies. If you don't practice it, it dies. And whatever it will take that is safe, whatever it takes to make the thing happen and to reach the general public, then I would say let's go for it.
Well, for me, there is an abundance of talent in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I think as a country, as a small country, the amount of practitioners in terms of professionals who have experience and expertise in the area of creative and cultural arts, it is enough to assist the younger ones, those who are doing theater arts, those in the communities who have a passion or love, or even haven't identified their talents as yet. to help to hone those skills and to help them to develop and to train them. I think the vision is to tell the Vincentian story. What is the Vincentian story? And we know in St. Vincent, the different cultural forms or cultural practices, they are unique in their nature. You understand? In terms of our food and the things that we practice, the music, the dance, the way we approach culture in terms of when we came out of slavery. For example, the types of traditions and the way we approach those traditions. For example, the tea meeting, we mocked the slave masters. Most our dance was used to mock them and mimic them. The same thing was done with other practices. So the Vincentian unique story, I think, is what we would have to spend the next couple of years learning in terms of from an education standpoint, and then sharing that with the rest of the world so that people can know that this small country, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, is rich in terms of culture, history, and heritage. And the theatre arts, once we understand our role, those who come on board and those who are willing to walk the path with us, will have that opportunity to share that story with the rest of the world. And the onus is upon us, the cultural practitioners who are in the position to lead and to coordinate or to do whatever is possible, so that people would no longer think about it as a hobby, but more so as a product. And once they're able to develop that product and make it market ready, it can be exported or shared with the rest of the world, and that's the vision.
Awesome vision, that, man. All right, so we got 2 more things to do before we shut this conversation down for this episode, right? We're gonna go pay some bills. We're gonna come back with your final thoughts, and I keep promising that somebody is going to win either a jerk pork, some jerk fish, or some jerk chicken with festival. Well, we come right back, man. Don't worry yourself.
Hey, you know hear about the Joke and Festival trailer out by the Soul gas station? Yes, the same one on the way out to Indian Bale, man. They always have a whole set of pizzas every day, any day, including ackee and saltfish, vegetarian, and the world famous spicy jerk pizzas. But hey, that's not all, you know. They also offer jerk fish, escovitch fish, jerk chicken, and jerk pork. And as always, they serve it with real Jamaican festival. We are wait for. Call them now, no man. 784-495-4267. How you mean? Man, them always deliver anywhere between Kingston and Prospect. The Jerk and Festival trailer, an authentic yardie experience. Here I come.
The National Performing Arts Festival Committee presents the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines National Performing Arts Festival 2021 in collaboration with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture on November 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th, and 28th. An amazing virtual showcase from the best of SVG's young, emergent, and established creatives will be on stage for the world to see. An explosion of excellent performance arts presentation will be featured, along with the staging of a Caribbean classic, Moon on a Rainbow Shawl, a play by Errol John, directed by Darky Williams. November 6th to 28th, 7:30 nightly. It's the National Performing Arts Festival 2021. Revitalize, re-energize the brand. Brought to you by the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and the Ministry of Tourism and Culture.
Diamond Grocery Inc., located at Kaliako and Diamond, are your friendly neighborhood groceries for one-stop shopping. We carry a wide range of food items such as meats, toiletries, personal care, and even products for your vehicle. And there is so much more that is certain to make the most picky shopper happy. Our bakery supplies a variety of delicious and hot breads and pastries. We provide spacious parking at our 2 locations to ensure a pleasant shopping experience. Our staff is courteous, friendly, and ready to serve you. Come to Diamond Grocery Inc., Kaliako and Diamond for excellent shopping with ambience designed for your satisfaction.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Bring my guest back on. Seems my friend Guman like he just drop out the animal. But it's alright, it is okay. So we're doing this thing, right, guys? Yeah, the giveaway thing.
Great
Yeah,
forward.
man. Yeah. Fellas think like I've been joking with it now. So we collecting the comments. That's what it's doing, right?
Match text.
Yeah. I told you if you type it just as is and you have like these little seconds at the thing here. What are you telling me? Okay. All right. So we have what? We only have 2 entries, people? That's what you're telling me? No, man.
Happy Master Double. What's with that one?
I hope so. She probably do a performance.
I feel so too.
What's this? She not even in the draw? Oh, good.
So Tanya one.
So we got a winner now. You know what to say now? I do nothing to it. All I do is just press the button. Right? You type it, like I said, type it, and you're winning. Live by your choices. This is what you need to do, right? You're going to DM me on either of the platforms. We're talking on Instagram or right on Facebook. I don't think you could DM on YouTube, right? So go on, message us quick. Who is, if you're here in St. Vincent, we will basically let you know, we'll just send your information over to the trailer and you can go and get your joke and festival, right? If you're not here but you want somebody to collect, send us the thing same way and we start out. I need to press that button there so you could stop sharing. Congratulations, live by your choices. Thank you so very much for hanging with us inside this episode of Hey, there's the brother, man. Sorry, my brother. You didn't leave us. I am so sorry, my brother. I thought you left us. I think you got pushed off the side of my dashboard. Yeah. All right. So, guys, we're at that point now. Final thoughts. This is basically where we wrap the show up together. Everybody get a chance to basically run through, the core of what was presented in this show. Bomani, I'd like to start with you first, if you don't mind, and then we come back to the gentleman over there at Peaceman.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I just want to let folks know, your listeners and viewers know, that 9 Mornings 2021 is on, albeit in a different format, and we're doing it through the lens of health and safety and keeping our cast and crew members safe, and persons who are wishing to attend the streaming of the 9 Mornings live show event. are asked to register with the Ministry of Health to get your QR code. Now, remember, getting your QR code doesn't just give you access to 9 Mornings, but all other vaccinated events that are going to be taking place over the Christmas season. So you wanna do that early. And for all our cultural practitioners, listen, if you want to be on the cast, if you want to be involved this year, get vaccinated. We're happy to have you. We're going to try and make this as exciting as possible under the circumstances, and making sure that persons around St. Vincent and the Grenadines and around the region and around the world have a taste of 9 Mornings through our virtual space that we're going to, a virtual safe space that we're going to create. And don't forget also that we're lighting up the country this year. A String of Lights campaign will be launched soon. 1 string for every house in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, to ensure that cheer is brought for Christmas 2021. The 9 Mornings Festival is on. So everybody just get involved. Let's have a great Christmas 2021.
Well, as usual, I will be brief, as brief as I could be. The National Theatre Arts Festival this year is something that I like to view as special. And I am inviting everyone to tune into wherever the streaming, whatever platforms the festival is being streamed on. I am inviting you to get in there and see the change. See the newness and the excitement that this festival is going to generate into the future. I think it is good for theater practitioners in St. Vincent to express themselves and their original thinking. For many things in the arts in St. Vincent, originality sometimes go by the way. I am hoping that the positive takeoff that this festival has had would encourage many Vincentians to use Vincentian themes in the way forward in terms of creating artistic presentations for the country. And with that, I wish everyone safe viewing and a safe festival for all practitioners.
I wish you a safe viewing to JP. I want to thank everybody, from an idea to reality, and none of it would be possible without the support, partnership, and guidance from a lot of people. Too much to mention, to be totally honest. But I would like to start with those persons who at the Ministry of Culture, Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development, the Permanent Secretary, the Minister, and of course, Maxine Brown, our Cultural Officer. The staff within the ministry have been very, very supportive, always willing to assist with this program, making calls, helping to coordinate and deal with logistics and so on. And the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, our partner, main partner, who saw the vision and jumped on board right day one after the pitch. And they offered their comments and recommendations and gave extra support towards the development in terms of the infrastructure. And that is, words can't at this point describe, how we feel. But we want to thank from the management all the way down to the staff, because when you walk in the bank, you get the feel that the bank is owning the festival. The posters are up, People are talking about it. The bank staff is eager to get in on the live. And other partners, for example, NL Sound, Junior Mason and his crew, Steve Wallace, STV Online, who is responsible for our streaming, etc. And to you, JP, and other media outlets who have been providing the opportunity for us to share what is going on in the festival. To Darky, people will say, why Darky ain't throwing any hat in the ring? Why throw a hat in the ring when the job is left, is not done? Because we still have a lot more work to do. But, you will get that from people who are sitting down and doing nothing. And we are proud and always grateful for his contribution. The persons who have come to our auditions, who are in the play, the performers who register to participate in the festival, the judges, the members of the committee, and viewers, you are very important. Without you, this festival will be nothing. Your role as members of the audience is to come on the live. First of all, go to the various pages, Department of Culture, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, like and follow. Go to JP Shimon, go to STV Online, go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines National Theatre Arts page on Facebook and like them, and you will get the instant notification when we go live. When we go live, we want you to share that with the rest of the world so that we can show people what's going on in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So JP, to every single person involved, without even hearing your name being mentioned, you know that you're involved in some way or the other. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, JP.
Look, I just want to jump in there and shout out people who had them dentistry work done. What a today I've heard.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
I just shouted out people who can't talk right now. All right? Hey guys, I want to thank you so very much for spending your Thursday evening with us here inside the Situation Updates live chat series. To you, Bomani, and to you, Sean, and Darky, all the best to you and for your respective festivals, man. I look forward to playing as big a part as I can, as little a part as I can, whatever I can to make it happen, to make it better for 2021 and beyond. And for the folks who have joined us, thank you so very much for joining, for liking, for sharing, for commenting. Of course, if you're new to the platform, as always, we invite you to stick around, have a little tour, explore, see some of the other uploads, some of the other live chats we would have conducted over time. See how the things set them on. If you like and subscribe to that in the meantime, right? Until next week, Thursday at 9 p.m. when we come to you with yet another live chat series. As always, I can't go in and shout out. Fashion is pain, I'm sorry. I just had to do it. Stay beautiful, guys. Stay awesome.
Peace.